Father George Saltzman, the Harvard Catholic Center. We're here across from St. Paul's Church, right by Adam's house here. Right up there is at the Arnzoll Suite. And to put it in world terms, Daedalus is right over there, just to keep your attention. Anyway, we have here the School of Athens by Raphael. Raphael was taught perspective by Leonardo da Vinci, and what he did was a nice note by putting him right at the center of the perspective here. And the two folks there who are at the center are, of course, representing Plato and Aristotle. And Plato, you can tell them apart. You can tell them apart a bit by age, obviously. Once you know Plato and Aristotle. The other way they are told apart beautifully is by the fact of Plato pointing upward to the world of forms and ideas, and Aristotle gesturing out into the world of things, empiricism. Those two moments in knowledge, we inhabit ourselves every day. In your research work, in everything we do, we sort out reality by those two approaches. And one of them is sort of by our just basic thinking and reflection, and the other one by going out and actually experiencing things. So on the one hand, deduction and so on from basic principles that we have in us, and the other one in the empiric world of learning and of science. So we could call what Plato's up to the a priori, that which we have in us, and we sort things out by our own reflection. And then we could call what Aristotle's up to in the world out here, empiricism, the a posteriori, going out and checking. And in a way, we always need both. I think you'd probably say that math obviously is a priori, and let's say biology and chemistry would be a posteriori. People have often thought with physics, put it in different groupings. We used to think that it was, some people would say it's completely a priori, and people had that a priori idea that if two weights were dropped, one very heavy and one very slight, that the heavy one would hit ground first. And of course, then Galileo revolutionized things and began science, you might say, by experimentation. What was his experiment? The Leaning Tower of Pisa. He dropped the two weights, one heavy and one not, and they both fell at the same time. They both hit with a single sound. That's pretty good proof indeed. And so that really revolutionized much in the West, and got us thinking even more profoundly about the a priori and the a posteriori. We see that today too with people we know in our families and friends, who are the nicest people, most thoughtful in the world, who sometimes feel that their a priori about, let's say, vaccines and so on, is better than medicine or science or what virologists know and are trying to make happen. And so as we try to get our economy backwards, we sort of notice that, and we sort of see that literally in action. Unfortunately, even if you don't believe in gravity, if you jump out the 30th floor of a building, your body does, with predictable results. And so similarly for us as a community, we're each at the mercy of each other. And importance for us to sort these matters out well. Of course, science can make mistakes, so can medicine. At the medical school graduation, every couple of years, they usually say something like this. The dean does, in his address to the class. He'll say, some of what we've taught you here is probably going to be found out to be false. The only problem is we don't know which part that is. We don't know which part that is. And so science advances by experiment, and by checking things, and by checking things again, and by sometimes being surpassed. And that's its very nature. It's very irritating to people who are trying to look for, let's say, sound advice on nutrition when they haven't done experiments yet. When they do, the advice finally informed changes. It's very irritating to people who were taught in school that Pluto is one of the 9 planets, and finding out it's been demoted, and getting a bit angry for people kicking sand in poor little Pluto's face and saying, no, it's a planet, it should remain a planet, and so on. And then finally, in the matter of medicine, that sometimes we're aggravated when people say, well, it's an unknown virus, we think this is true so far, then the advice has changed and the guidelines have changed once again, and people think that's a ruse or a conspiracy. And actually, oftentimes, if you trace the extension cord back to the wall, you find it simply finding out new stuff about a virus we hadn't had a chance to learn from anymore. We're just taking in data and trying to call the shots from that. We have this matter of theory and experience in our own lives. There's what we're taught how life works, and then we go forth into life, we go forth from theory in school, we go forth into life, and we suddenly realize that's not always completely true. We gain wisdom from experience, but very often we gain experience through our mistakes, or the mistakes of other people. It's not an easy road. but it's sort of the way life works. And we each help each other by, quite frankly, forgiving each other. Falling down is part of life. Getting back up is living. How important to let yourself be forgiven for your mistakes, and how important, if you don't mind, to forgive the rest of us for our mistakes as well, and lift us up when the time comes. May God bless you.